Well, hi everybody. Oh, am I going? Okay, I'm going. Uh, Hi. Welcome to Invisible Sun Session 2. Um, we have hopefully a great game lined up for you tonight. You just caught the intro, so I imagine you got all the characters, but we're going to go around and introduce them one more time, just briefly, and they're also going to discuss what has happened between sessions, because an important part of Invisible Sun is development between sessions. 2 weeks have passed since our last session in game time. Um, so our characters have been busy between those points, and we're just going to briefly go around and talk about what we've been doing. So, Soraya, why don't we start with you? What have you been up to these past couple of weeks?
So, I had a few conversations with my sister regarding the newspaper article that we found. I also reached out to Emma, who unfortunately came at the end of the party, or fortunately, I suppose it's fortunately for me.
Hmm.
She gave me a bit of direction for some things that I am hoping to pursue. Um, I worked at my bookstore and was found in my bookstore by Lucas. So we read and probably didn't say much while saying much.
All right. And also, some of the more story significant development scenes can be found on our Patreon for free because they're so important to the goings on of this story. We have all of that IMRP posted for free, so you can keep up with our characters as they make their moves. So, Alana, why don't we hop over to you? What have you been doing over the past couple of weeks?
I haven't really been doing that much. Mostly just working at the flower shop and plant nursery called Botanical Spiral. Um, Honestly, I've been staying away from home as long as possible. It's kind of uncomfortable being there, especially what happened after the party. And I had a nice game of the Spiders game with Pontiff. It was very enlightening.
All right. Um, Soren, I'm sorry, I was just about to call you Josh. That's not what we're doing right now. So,
Yeah,
Soren,
no.
what have you been up to the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, so of course, after the party, Lucas and I went back to do a little research on the graffiti that we found. And I have pursued that thread to several ends, and I think perhaps we will talk about that today. So I don't want to get too far into it. And of course, I have arranged a time to go visit Euphemia, my friend, on the campus of the Vance. And there are some other side conversations, but that's the main thing. I may have written on later. We shall see.
All right. We'll actually get to your conversation with Euphemia in a bit because that's I would consider that to be pretty important depending on what comes up. Lucas, what have you been up to over the past couple of weeks?
The details of what I have been partaking in are mostly inconsequential. However, to the extent that the viewership needs to know what's going on, I would let them know that I have been spending my time buried in books, usually in the company of some of my friends or other acquaintances, and between assisting Soren with research on that word or name or whatever it is, I've also been looking into the details surrounding real estate in Saturnine, particularly as it is related to the aqueduct in which I currently call my home. My meeting with the real estate attorney at the party the other week was enlightening to an aspect, but it was also a bit disconcerting. So, as it stands, my research brought me to the company of a Visley who can assist me in arranging details with respect to the ownership of the premises. However, it turns out someone already owns it, which is quite vexing. However, I'm hoping I might be able to uncover just who currently owns that deed and what I might need to do to arrange a mutual transfer of title. And besides the more boring aspects of my research, which I'm sure you're all very excited about, I have also been spending time at my job tending to Mothula at the Benighted Song. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Mothula is the de facto bouncer at the jazz club. It's a moth of some reputable size. Its wings act as not only a door, but also a little bit of a drapery of sorts. And I'm what they call the moth keeper. I feed, tend to, and otherwise make sure that the moth is in good shape before each night, because it's easier to pay a moth with vegetation than it is to dispense orbs to staff to watch the doors. Was that answer satisfactory?
Probably.
Excellent.
I'm gonna assume it was. And Shade, have you been up to anything over the past couple of weeks?
I've mostly been working. I am a companion or a professional dungeon master. Not, yes, that kind of dungeon master. I've been ignoring my sister as she tries to talk to me about some things and avoiding other responsibilities and conversations as well.
All right. So before we pick up with the rest of the group, we're going to briefly take a look at one of the conversations that Soren had over the past couple of weeks. Soren, you are very familiar with the Vancian campus. It is where you spend a large amount of your time. And campus is probably the right word for it. There are a variety of different buildings of different ages, of different sizes, that are all used strictly for the research of spells. Other orders and their members in Satyrine might be maybe more powerful in a raw sense than Vance's, or might be better with long-form rituals, but nobody can compete with the Vance's in terms of sheer knowledge and proficiency with spellcasting. And it is something, especially given how organized you are, it is something that most Vance's are quite proud of. So you're on the campus and you go to a third floor office, kind of like a middling. You're not on a skyscraper or anything like that. You enter a third floor office on one of the buildings, and there you see somebody you know to some extent, a young woman named Euphemia. And in her office, you see it's kind of a mess, which you are surprised about from her because she's very neat and orderly in her presentation. Vances in general are kind of neat and orderly people because they have this rigidity to their magical practice. So to see this place as kind of a disaster is surprising. But what surprises you also, given aside from the fact that this place is a mess, there are cubes all over the room in various places. Some are sitting on desks and they're small and fist-sized. Other are these large hovering wireframe cubes that are attached to nothing. And there are just cubes all over the place. More cubes than you could possibly count. Different shapes, sizes, colors. There's just full of cubes.
All right.
Hello, Soren. I apologize. You've caught me off guard.
Oh, that is quite all right. I see you have been very busy. I hope that it has been beneficial.
Would you believe me if I told you all of this is old? I abandoned this project a while ago.
Ah, well, I suppose if you need help getting rid of anything, while I am here, you have my two hands. I wanted to drop off, and I will produce a docket of papers.
Mhm.
I wanted to drop off this proposal that you were going to read over for my new project. It
course.
is. Well, you might recall last time I was telling you about what I had been reading, particularly regarding the language and the words, and how they, how I believe they perhaps are grounded. The meaning in words are grounded in the invisible sun. Well, I have a new idea, a new discovery, and I was hoping that you might give my proposal a look before I pass it on to a formal review.
Oh, absolutely, of course. Soren, given that the advances are in order centered around spellcasting, are you proposing the creation of a specific spell, which is something you can do by mechanics? You can make your own spell. Or are you proposing like a method of casting, like just a different way of casting known spells?
Well, my research regards the way that we know about true names, the true name of an object or a person. And so I am recommending it's kind of both in terms of a way to learn and study new names, these true names, but then also a way to cast those spells perhaps in an easier or new way. It is definitely kind of a work in progress, but it's an idea.
Yeah, well, yes, of course. As you see, I've got a bit of a mess to tend to, but once I'm done with all this nonsense, I'll definitely take a look.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your time. Obviously,
Of course.
you know, no project is perfected in a day, so you take your time. I will continue what I am working on. While I'm here, do you want me to help you clean things up, or?
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Sure, and you spend the next undefined quantity of time cleaning up papers, brushing cubes out of the way. You find, interestingly enough, that all of these cubes are actually different sizes, and they like fit very well neatly into each other. Even like a solid cube will move into another solid cube, and there's just one thing there. They all basically fold together into this like one cube. It's probably like yay big by yay big.
Could I, as I'm helping with these, use my forte ability, understanding, which lets me touch an object and gain just a bit of information about it?
Sure. If you want, because you're specifically assisting her cleaning up and you're touching these things, I will allow you to cast it twice if you want to deduct 2 sorcery instead of 1.
All right, sure. And do I need to make a die roll for that?
Yeah, go. Why don't you? Yeah, go ahead and make a die roll, and let me know also what types of information are suggested again in the description of the.
Yes, yes, of course. Let's just grab this. And is that, I'm sorry, 1d10 or 2d10? You'll have to forgive me.
I believe the ability says +1 die next to it, so that would be 2d10. Just pay attention to which is your standard die and which is your magic die.
Okay.
And determine that before you roll as well. Because if you roll a 0 on a magic die, you will trigger Flex.
Cool. I will try not to do that for the sake of all of us and our well-being. Alrighty. So the purple die will be my magic die. And that is a 5 on my standard die and a 0 on my magic die.
Big oof. All right. So why don't you, while I'm looking up the Flex chart, why don't you quickly tell me what sorts of information you might receive from the spell, and I'll give you what you learn.
Yeah, of course. I am going to that page right now. Give me just a moment. All right. Okay. So that lets me. I can know a bit of information about it. Its level, its common name, nature, age, and so on. I don't control what information I get, but I can use it multiple times to get more information if I choose.
Sure.
And it's indigo, if that makes any difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't we play a Sooth card and see if that makes any difference? I should have played one at the beginning of the game, but I forgot about that one. So let me quickly pull up the gate and let's see what we pull. On the Silver Sun, our first Sooth card of the night we are playing is the Devil. Oh boy. So that has a value of 0. And let me quickly pop open the Sooth deck and the Devil. All right. Sorry, I should have had this open already. The Devil, value of 0. Secrets, ravens, books, and flame. Are any of those associated with your heart?
Let's look. Yes. Yes.
Oh, big oof. Oh, such big oof. You have a -2 to all of your endeavors. This is great. The nemesis of secrets is the Prince of Lies, the Devil. Of course, there are many devils. Their commonality is their need to corrupt the world around them. Charming, sexy liars that are determined to draw mortals into their own evil. Devils don't kill, they talk. They don't destroy, they tempt. The term devil stands apart from the term demon in that way. The demon is typically a relatively unintelligent engine of violence and destruction, while devils are far more insidious.
All right. Well, that is not very good, is it?
All right. So what I will say is this: you touch it, and like instantly, your mind is like scrambled in a way. You get like a splitting headache of splitting headaches. So what happens is you take 1 anguish.
All right.
Which you can cancel out with an intellect, Benny, if you would like.
Yeah, let us do that. Why not?
Sure. So yeah, just take 1 off of your intellect, and you don't lose any health from that. And you also lose 1 sortilege from your pool.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I've had better days, but we will manage.
Yeah, so you touch it, and you get like the worst headache. It's like absolutely awful. It might cause you to double over. It might not, but...
I will try to play it cool in front of someone who is, of higher stature than me in the vans, but I will definitely be hurting. And when I eventually get out, I will probably do one of those things where I like just stop and just like put my hands on my head and just sit for a minute before moving on.
Sure. I will say the only other thing of note that occurs while you are engaging in this is that you notice that, well, most of the things Euphemia is packing up, she is actually organizing them very well into like file folders and like little things that are very well organized. But some of the information that she is collecting, she is not filing away. She's just like grabbing the paper and like burning it in her hands. And not in a dangerous way, but like she grabs the paper and just is gone.
Would I have any idea what is on that paper before she does it?
If you want to attempt to make a perception roll, you could.
Yeah, of course. Let us do that. And I can spend 1 from my pool to
yes,
give myself a +1 to my die roll. Yes.
Yep. And you could also spend a sortilege if you want to attempt to magically perceive this as well.
Do I have to spend the sortilege before I roll, or can I see what I roll?
Yes, you have to spend it before you roll.
Why not? What else am I going to use it for? So we'll go ahead and use that. So I will add a +2.
All right, sure. I'll say this is a challenge level 7. This is going to be difficult because you don't know what is important, what she's burning and what is she's not burning until she picks it up. So you'll only be able to catch maybe a few words, and it would have to be quick, but I'd say it's possible. So your challenge will be at level 7.
Yeah, well, we can do that. I rolled an 8 +2 is a 10.
All right. Okay, so why don't you describe sortilege is the stuff of raw magic. This is you just pulling at the fabric of the universe to create an effect. So why don't you describe for me what that effect is?
Mm.
How do you see this?
Yeah, well, I think as this happens, I would, of course, mechanically try to like walk over closer and perhaps, oh, let me put this
Sure.
over here. And then as that happens, I'm going to look and try to focus my magical energy and actually try to see through the page in order to view what is on the document for as long as possible before
Sure.
it is eventually consumed by fire.
Yeah.
But, I've spent time with shades, so fire is not very frightening for me.
Sure, got you. I will say that though you did succeed at this task, like I said, you don't know what is being burned until it is like physically in her hands, and she like torches this pretty rich as soon as she like picks it up and gives it a quick stand. The only thing you do notice is that at the top of one of these pages is in larger orders than the rest, this phrase, by order of the Vespertine. And that is Vespertine, the Vespertine.
All right. Am I familiar with that word by chance?
You could roll for it. It's hidden knowledge. Someone has attempted to hide this. So you would have to spend magic to spend sortilege rather to attempt to learn it, because you'd be basically pulling the knowledge out of the page, in a sense.
Okay.
And I will not tell you the level of this challenge.
Okay, that is fair. All right.
And how this works is because, just quickly for mechanics' sake, as magic is necessary to complete this task, both of your die have to succeed.
Right, they both have to succeed. Right.
Yeah, and you could spend an intellect bene to reduce the challenge by 1.
All right. Perfect. Well, just out of curiosity, would this be considered something that I could use my skill in formal magic or my skill in searching? Would either of those perhaps help?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because you're not searching for anything now. You're trying to recall or
right.
pull information from
right.
the world.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. We will go ahead and cast that. And again, my purple die will be my magic die.
Sure.
And can I expend a sortilege?
Yes, you're required to for this challenge.
Okay, perfect. That will put me down to 0 sortilege. All right. Is there anything else I can spend an intellect, perhaps, to boost my chances?
Yes, you can spend an intellect as a recollection or a general representation of your level of knowledge. You could also spend a hidden knowledge.
Oh, yeah, that is not a bad idea. So if I spend a hidden knowledge, would that be a +3?
No, your sortilege allows you to roll 2 die. So you would reduce the challenge by 2.
I would reduce the challenge. Okay. So I will do that. And I will go ahead and make my roll. I rolled really well on my normal die, but the magic is another 0, so that is not going to do anything.
Oh boy, howdy! All right, we've triggered another flux. So long story short, you do not.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what this is.
You absolutely certainly do not know what the Vespertine is or are. And I will say the result of your flux is that sometime later, hours later, once you go to sleep, you are plagued by terrible nightmares.
Okay, well, good. I will remember that very much.
All right, and with that, unless there's anything else you would like to say to Euphemia, we can ask where the group is today, which is a different day than you had this conversation.
Yeah, I will cut my losses and say goodbye and then leave very quickly before I do any more irreparable harm to myself.
Sure, absolutely. So, where do we find ourselves today? Where has the group met, assembled, and what would you like to do?
I think we're meeting at Soren's. Am I wrong?
Sounds about right. He had a
Is-
library.
I do have a small library, and of course I have a bar, so a win-win.
The bar.
I'm out of
Why?
whiskey and I need some more. So
Oh yeah, you could certainly come by a bottle or something like that.
bye. No, I'm gonna drink all of your whiskey.
Well, you see, I don't own the bar. I
Oh, I see.
work
But you
at
don't
a
have
bar.
personal whiskey that I can drink.
Wait, you live at a bar?
Yeah, you'll understand when you get there.
That sounds like a problem.
Or it is a solution.
There is nothing about a bar that is a solution.
Except for perhaps some of the liquid in the bottles.
Like I said,
think that is
sounds-
technically a solution, but not an answer to your problems. Just the solution we were speaking about, Lucas. To Soren's we go.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
well,
Soren, why don't you describe your house for us real fast? How do we get into your house?
Yeah, so first to get to my house, you would have to go into a bar located not too far away. Is a bar called, I believe it is the Copper Nickel, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it the Copper Bucket?
Wooden nickel, right?
The Wooded Nickel. That is it. I am not looking at my notes right now, and I apologize. And so as you enter the bar, if you are an expected guest, which I presume you all would be, you could look at the bartender and tell them that you are here to visit me, Soren, and then he would offer you, because it would be Russ, short for Russell, who is behind the bar right now, and he would offer you what is effectively a bottle of whiskey, and each of you would have a drink as well. So one shared bottle and then a drink, and he would escort you to a back room, instruct you to take whatever that drink is. If you would like it to be a shot, it could be a shot. Or, I prefer it to be more of a beer because I like the flavor of a beer. And then once you have consumed the beer, he would open the bottle of whiskey, and you would all magically teleport inside the bottle of whiskey. And you would immediately look around and see that you are inside a bottle that looks much like this. And you would see that it is circular in shape. And you would be in what is my living area. I have 4 rooms. The primary room is that living area. And then off of that, I have a kitchen. I have a library study, and then I have my bedroom. And I would probably be waiting for you in my living area where you would arrive.
Do you have any roommates?
No.
Thank God.
No,
You
he
have a
doesn't have any roommates.
Question. Does it have to be alcohol?
No. So technically, the drink that you drink, in order to, it does not have to be alcohol. That is the short answer.
Water.
Okay, it does not taste like normal water, but yes.
I flop down on the couch like I am familiar with the location.
Oh, welcome. You are muted, Alex.
Oh no, that's just my commentary.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you were trying to give us some kind of direction. All right. Welcome. Yes. How are we today?
Good. Very quaint.
What did you find out?
About what? I found many things out.
About what we were talking about last time we saw each other?
Oh yeah, the graffiti. Well, I did a little research, and let me tell you what I know. I trust that you made your way in well enough. Okay, good. So I am able to find out a couple of things. It is definitely magical. The effect is magical. But I can't necessarily discern the exact nature of the spell, but it seems to be something more rigid. It is not a weave or something natural. It is more of a formal spell, and it is associated with the Grey Sun. But I do not know what the meaning of the word is, unfortunately.
Since it was so formal, is that the reason why you're the only one who could see it?
Perhaps. I am not entirely certain. Um, Although this might be interesting, and I will pull out a tabloid magazine, and I will put it on. I've got a little table, and I will tell everyone that I've heard in this tabloid, it's the only mention I can find of the word demiurge, is that it is some kind of malicious presence, and that it targets Visle here in Saturine. But that is all I know. And I'm not entirely sure that it is reliable. There are no peer reviews. It is just, hearsay.
That's
said it-
disturbing.
What does it do with the Beastly?
Well, that is a great question. All I know is that it is not a kind thing.
That is
Amen.
horribly. Go ahead.
No, please. I wouldn't dare to interrupt the few words you would share with us.
Oh, I only had 2 more, and it was horribly unhelpful.
Mm.
That's it. I'm done. Thank you.
Soren, who wrote the article?
That is a very good question that the GM has not told me. Who wrote the article?
Sure. Give me a quick second to pop
Yeah.
open my notes.
Yeah, of course.
That's Dungeon
All
Master
right.
for make up the name.
No, believe me, I have notes of random names.
Oh.
So you would learn that the person who wrote this article is this article is attributed to a person named Haldemar the Surprised.
Haldemar the Surprised. Huh.
Does
Sounds like
anybody
an
know
alias.
this person?
That's an unfortunate name.
It really is. They would call you Soraya the Worst.
Shut up.
Soraya the bitch? Soraya the mean twin?
If it meant less people would talk to me, I would be okay with that.
Exactly.
Anyway, sounds like an alias. I'm wondering where they got their information.
I don't know. I mean, we could certainly look into the publication. Perhaps, there is an editor or a publisher who could point us in the right direction. Especially if it is not a real name but an alias, it would be hard to track down based off of just this alone.
I'm wondering who wrote the graffiti then. Because something that attacks Visle is very concerning.
Well, as a Visle, I'm very concerned, so I'm not entirely sure. I feel like this is the kind of thing that is perhaps above our pay grade in some ways. It is.
Are you getting paid
Okay.
for this? Because I'm not.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you are not being paid for your time. I do, in fact, work for the Vance, so technically, this could count as a billable hour, I suppose.
Well, I'm not getting paid, so it's not above my pay grade.
Okay, well, why don't you go and do some research and tell me what you find out?
Okay.
Perfect.
If anything, I at least appreciate the warning on something to keep an eye out for. And I'll sit down on the couch near Shade, who has flopped.
Yes, I am sitting with my head on a pillow, like in the middle, with my feet hanging over the arm of the couch. Legs
Yeah,
crossed.
I'm gonna sit near your feet.
Like a brat.
Takes one to know one.
I'm just standing placidly behind the two of you, behind the couch.
Soraya, did you learn anything you haven't told us yet?
necessarily.
What was that? I can't hear you when you talk quietly.
You're just really bad at listening.
Well,
I
that's
said
it.
nothing pertaining to this directly. No. Although I am interested, if I'm being honest.
In
The, the attacks?
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, if they're attacking Wieslow, aren't any of us at risk? Shouldn't we all be on our guard?
Did the article mention it? Or wait, we have. So I read the article. If I read the tabloid, if I read those two things, are there any? Do I notice any trends? Or is it just kind of okay?
By and large, no. It's a tabloid article. It's kind of garbage, honestly.
Does any of it look like it's worth anything?
I mean, not really. Okay. There are no attributed sources. It's kind of like a tabloid article about a boogeyman or something like that.
But tabloids
very
usually
non-specific and sensational. The only thing I will say you notice by paying attention is that this article was written probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh.
But tabloids usually, even though they're a load of hooey
shit is what you wanted to say, Alana.
Garbage.
They still grab onto something tangible and twist it to something. They usually just grab something that is true and then warp it.
The best lies and gossip are based in truth.
I believe those are things called urban legends.
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Out of curiosity, it's been a while since I looked at the article, the newspaper article, not the tabloid schlock.
Oh yeah.
Were there any names for the victims that have been killed recently?
The tabloid article doesn't even mention people being killed.
I mean,
it says that
the newspaper article.
Oh, the newspaper article. Oh, I'm sorry. What was your question again?
Were there names of the victims?
There were a couple of names. You see, one was named Stefano. One was named Vekaner, Vekaner. And one has kind of a title, I guess. Silene of Unbroken Promises.
Does it really matter who they were?
Of course it does. There's reason for everything, even the most trivial of aspects of our lives. Therefore, I don't know why I didn't think of this any sooner.
What if it wasn't random, or what if it wasn't on purpose? What if it's just random Beasley?
I mean, I suppose that's always entirely plausible, but it would be easiest to verify that there are no connections or similarities between these people before we discount the fact that it is just random chance.
Fine.
So, at least that would be my suggestion. Of course, I am just one out of 5 of us, so my thoughts don't necessarily hold that much weight.
I would say... Okay.
If there is, in fact, some kind of connection or pattern, it might be easier to determine exactly what the overall goal of something like this is.
Alex, does the article say who's working on the case?
It doesn't mention anyone specific. Broadly, this sort of thing is probably going to be tackled by individual gerents, depending on who's running which neighborhood people are being killed in. But I would actually say at this point, it's probably drawing attention from the Pristine Guard.
So wait.
Or at least they're mentioned as beginning to investigate.
Let me just get this straight. Are we thinking that the murderer going around killing Beasley and this demiurge are the same thing?
is a coincidence at the very least.
I wouldn't jump to the conclusion, but anything can happen in the actuality.
They may be connected in some manner, whether that be the same entity or one that feels some sort of kinship with whatever the demiurge may be.
Soraya, what do you think?
Not enough information to say, which is why we need to find more information.
Okay. Whatever you say.
But just for clarification purposes, besides saving our own butts, so to speak, and the Beasley in general, why are we looking into this? Wouldn't it be better to leave it to just someone who's meant to do this?
Alana, look, I love your hair. You're fantastic. You're a fantastic Beasley, but I'm invested in this now, so
I think
you don't have to participate if you don't want to. Obviously, no one's gonna force you to do anything. But
the demiurge is one thing, but I think the newspaper article that we all read makes it very clear that the people that have been attempting to solve this are obviously too ignorant to actually solve it.
Or they simply don't care.
I'm not sure which is
worse.
I know which one is worse.
At any rate, for my part, I'd be curious to know what's driving the ambitions of this murderer to take life so whimsically. Just is an interesting thought to drill down on.
So for now, we treat them as separate.
Till we see something that connects them. And although I do think it would be wise to be paying special attention to those things that might link them together.
Yeah, if there continues to be overlap, perhaps we reevaluate, but at least for now, it makes sense to treat them as separate entities.
Fair,
One
yes.
thing that you would notice is that one of the victims, this person named Silene, they were not killed too far from your location, at least in a time sense, not necessarily distance. They live in a neighborhood called the 73. The 73 is a neighborhood that exists inside bus number 73, which runs a route through Fartown. You step on the bus to enter the neighborhood.
Ah. It is fairly close. If you want to look into it, perhaps we could go on a quick little field trip.
And just to confirm, Alex, none of us recognize any of the names of the victims?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. If you all want to go chasing murderers, okay.
What's the worst that happens?
There's a long list.
Die is
I'll
one of
protect
them.
you.
That's
Everyone
not
on the
as.
list, to be honest.
I don't believe that's as big of an issue as you make it sound to be.
You're not wrong.
Look, Alana. I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. Understood?
Yeah.
Good girl.
So, you're off to the bus stop then? I have some other things I would like to take care of there anyway, so this is convenient.
Who do you know at the bus stop?
Since when do you care who I know?
Since we were born?
That's fair. Technically, I don't know anybody. I'm going to meet someone.
Oh my god. I love the way you dodge my questions. It's my favorite.
I hate how you ask them, so... To the bus stop.
Is there a bus stop close by that's gonna arrive
Yeah,
soon?
there's a bus stop within. I'm sorry, what was that last bit?
that's going to arrive soon.
Oh, yeah. No, I would say there's a bus stop within walking distance. The bus is sort of like Harry Potter's night bus. It shows up where you need it to. It shows up at stops as needed. It can be in 2 stops at the same time. It could be literally nowhere. It's a mixed bag. Broadly, you step outside of Soren's house. You leave the wooden nickel. It's probably like maybe 10 a.m. It's a beautiful day in Vartown. The indigo sun hangs high in a red sky. It is always fall in Fartown. That's unique to Fartown, not necessarily the rest of Seidorin, but it is always fall in Fartown. So most people are walking around in light jackets, that sort of thing. You walk by several trees that are just leaves are continually falling. Realistically, you should believe that these trees will run out of leaves eventually, but that never happens. One of the trees you pass by, interestingly enough, does not have leaves. Its leaves are these sort of like black lace fabric, and it has these fruit like eyeballs hanging off of it. You walk by near the bus stop in the general vicinity. You see a couple of street performers. You see what looks like it was once a man dancing. This man has the head of a trumpet, and so you hear some lively jazz music playing as he is doing a weird sort of partner tap dance with a woman who looks like she has been mostly transformed into a violin, at least on the torso and the head. So these two are giving a sort of lively tap dance jazz performance that is really, it's got everything you need. The trumpet and violin switch off between melody and accompaniment. They're tap dancing out these rhythms, and it's pretty impressive.
Do they have a tip? Do
Okay.
they have a tip box?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll leave them a crystal.
Okay, sure. They sort of, without breaking their act for a second, they both like sort of bow to you and continue.
I'm going to be distracted and stop and listen as you all, whether or not care, doesn't. So of no consequence to me, I stop and listen.
I would have stopped with you if I was leaving a crystal.
Sure. And it's not that far from the bus stop, so you would be able to catch the 73 if it showed up. It's not, you're not at risk or anything like that. And you would notice the only other person at the bus stop is this larger man in a sort of black formal suit who looks like he's slightly overdressed for just walking around the city. And he is currently walking his goldfish, which is just sort of like swimming there in the open with these like saucer-sized eyes that are just kind of like looking. That's the only other person at the bus stop currently.
On the way out of the bar, could I have put a couple of orbs on the bar and gotten a bottle of whiskey from Russ in order to just bring with, just, in case we want it?
Yeah, sure. I'll say you could leave 5 glass orbs for cheap whiskey or 1 crystal for good whiskey.
Oh, we're going to use the good whiskey, of course.
All right.
Where do you put it all?
Is that mine?
Is the bottle that I just bought at the bar?
Oh, sorry, I just smelled whiskey.
Would you like a sip?
Yes, actually I would.
Yeah, okay, here you are.
You claim ownership of all the whiskey in Vartown?
Pretty much.
I see.
Don't think that's how ownership works, but okay.
Makes it more enjoyable to drink because then it's stolen.
Depends on if anyone is there to contest the ownership.
Yeah, what do you know about that, Lucas?
That's an interesting question, and I have yet to be able to answer it.
Fair.
I lean over to Soraya. What is it with people and alcohol?
Alana, I'm not entirely sure what it is about people at all.
It's a whole ass right there.
I find sometimes it's best not to ask questions with regards to where Soren puts the liquor, because I don't think I've yet seen him imbibe more than enough to put him down.
While we are waiting for the bus, I'm going to play the next Sooth card. On the green sun, we play the Untrustworthy Mirror. So let's quickly see what that has to say. All right. Magic of the gold is enhanced. Magic of the silver is hindered. Card has a value 4 and is associated with mysteries, rats, mirrors, and stone. So if you are a stoic, all of your ventures are a +1. Your meanings for this card are illusion, false identity, and failure. Can we trust the mirror? Shadow thinking would say yes, but wisdom gained in the actuality suggests otherwise. When no one can see your reflection, is it really yours? If you have to look in a mirror to confirm your own appearance or identity, how do we know it's not lying? The world is full of illusion and deception. Believing with your own eyes isn't always wise. And believing what's in the mirror is even a step removed from that. So on that note, bus number 73 pulls right up, and it looks like the platonic ideal of a bus. Whatever you think of, when you think bus, looks like that.
So it is a double decker with an open top.
Yes.
Perfect.
To you.
I would like to sit up top.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you don't actually sit. So you walk in and you're on another street.
So no bus fare?
Yeah, no, there's no driver. There's no nothing. You step into the neighborhood. It's a moving doorway.
Even better.
Okay.
Yeah, so you step straight through into the 73. The door is closed. And what's interesting is you step into the 73 like from the bus. Like you turn around as you enter the neighborhood and there's the bus right behind you and it goes. The bus runs routes inside this neighborhood as well.
So to get out, we need to enter the bus again.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. But for now, you're in this neighborhood called the 73.
Okay.
Which, interestingly enough, has a reputation of being more or less Visley only. Summoned creatures have a very difficult time of getting in here. And broadly, that's sort of the reputation this neighborhood has.
And this is, remind me, GM, this is where one of those people was killed?
Yes, this is where one particular murder took place.
Silene of Unbroken Promises.
And is this the place where I went to investigate the graffiti, or is that elsewhere?
Yes, this is one of the locations.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Well, lead the way, Soren.
Yeah, sure. It is right this way, and I will walk in that direction, as if I know where I'm going.
Do you know where you're going?
If I've been there before, then perhaps.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm sorry, Sarai, did I cut you off?
Oh no, I was just saying I'm keeping an eye out for Maker Street.
Got you. I would say along the way you pass Maker Street. So Soraya, you're keeping out for this street in particular. I don't think anybody else would probably notice it because it's like a one-way street as long and all the way down is just like empty. There's nothing on either side of the street except at the end. There's like this building that's sort of like a little hole in the wall shop. This standalone rectangular building that's all the way at the end of this street. And if you would appear particularly at the sign, you would notice this place is called Victoria Vesper's Vicarious Makery.
Soraya, do you need something?
I need to go.
Alone?
I mean, I don't really.
I'm coming with you.
Okay.
Well, this is a field trip after all. Let's all go.
Yeah, I'm game. Where are we going?
There's no rush to get to the graffiti, so if we need to stop and do an errand.
Oh, I thought we were going to the murder site. Well, I guess they're the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Or you all could go and I could catch up. It wouldn't be hard to find you.
We can't wander away with Alana because Shade promised to keep Alana safe.
I think I'll be okay.
I mean,
You say that now.
It'll be fine. Let's go.
All right.
Where are we headed? Are we splitting up or are we all going to one place?
we're Are we splitting?
I think we are splitting.
I think we're splitting.
It sounds to
Okay.
me like Soren, Alana, and Lucas are continuing on, and Shade and Soraya are going to make a straight.
If you would like to go and watch over Alana, I'll meet up with you soon.
I think it'll be okay. It's the middle of the day.
You heard her. She'll be fine.
All right.
All right. So the sisters are going to Victoria's. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, sure. So since that's right there, we'll talk about that first.
As soon as the others are out of earshot, I'll kind of take a step closer to Soraya. I don't know why I don't want to tell them.
Well, for right now, and perhaps if we can figure out and get some answers here, we won't have to tell them at all.
Wait, what are we doing here?
Nothing.
Oh. Okay. Lead the way.
We'll lead the way to Victoria and her vicarious mimicry.
All right, let me quickly drop a picture of Victoria Vesper, who was named before we met Sunday Friends Vesper. I will just note for all those who are curious. I'm dropping a picture of this woman, Victoria Vesper, in general chat on our Discord.
Dang.
So you walk up to this building. It is very well kept. It is almost immaculate. There's you notice a large glass window in which are displayed various objects. Some are weapons. Some of it are like mannequins dressed in clothing that you can just look at and know it is magical. And some things are things you would be hesitant to describe them as literally anything beyond their items, to even forgo their use in terms of description. But the only other thing you notice is on the door, there is a very large, but very well presented sign that says "one at a time, please," with a large exclamation mark.
We're basically one. We're identical twins.
I need this sign for our house.
God, you're so obnoxious. I'll wait out here.
I'll be back. Agreed. And I'll walk inside.
I stand outside like a bodyguard with my arms crossed and all leather. My guns like standing out. Unhappy, clearly.
I'm very much wishing my sister could have this conversation instead of me.
All right, so you walk in and you find yourself basically in like a large sitting room. There are off to your left. That's my left. Off to your left, there are like two chairs and a coffee table. On the other side of that is a couch. It looks like almost sort of a consultation area. There's a desk towards the back where you imagine transactions occur. All along the right wall are just various items. The only thing you notice are missing are like potions. There is nothing that is a consumable. These are all physical things. I'll put it this way, all solid. And there's a door in the back which you hear the sounds of making, and they're not pretty sounds. It's a lot of sawing and hacking and bumps and bangs and metal crashing against metal. It's cacophonous. But as you hear this, there's a slight bell, very pretty little sound that chimes as Victoria Vesper walks into the room. And as we meet a brand new NPC, we're going to play one more tooth card real fast. That's the wrong PDF tab right there.
Do the suits stack? So, like, do I still keep my plus? No. Dang it!
No, they don't. Like, some of them specifically interact with, like, the tooth card before, the tooth card after, but those are exceptions. The only one that stacks is once we get to the Invisible Sun. Once we play 9 Sooth cards, the one we play on the Invisible Sun lasts until we play another one on the Invisible Sun. So that can last quite a while.
Okay.
but that's if we get there.
Okay.
On the blue sun, though, we play the Enticing Jewel. Its value is 2, and magic of the invisible sun is enhanced. No magic is hindered.
That's
Let's
good,
see.
at least.
The Enticing Jewel. This is associated with visions, swans, blades, and water. So if you are an empath, you have a +1 to all of your ventures. The Enticing Jewel meanings greed, money, beauty, goals, and success. The light at the end of the tunnel, the brass ring, the center of the target, the object of our desire, lies before us in the form of the Enticing Jewel. We want it. We have to have it. It represents beauty, but the side of beauty that demands attention and probably possession. It is the beauty that can sometimes call us to our darker natures. It brings out greed, ambition, and selfishness. Victoria Vesper enters the room. Oh, hi. Come on in.
Oh, hi. I was sent by Emma. Mara.
Oh, yes. How's my dear Emma doing?
She is efficient and
It sounds like
helpful.
her. That doesn't sound like her.
Must have caught her on a good day then. I was told you might be able to help me acquire something.
Of course.
There is a ritual for which I'm looking for.
I'm sorry, do you? She sort of like points at Shade. Does she want to come in?
Your sign says one person only, but I'm sure she would prefer to be in here rather than outside.
One at a time through the door.
Oh. I don't need that sign then. Yes, I'll...
I just wouldn't want to be rude, you know.
Of course. I'll go fetch Shade. I'll open the door. We misinterpreted the sign. Please don't light the house on fire. That would not be...
That was one time!
Okay, well... You can't have a second time until you have a first time, but you've already had the first time, so let's not let this be the second.
Oh my god, I swear. Oh, I can come in.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to Soraya.
Oh, sorry.
What?
I can come in?
Yes.
Alright, I don't even know what we're doing here, but I'm excited.
Why are you like this? Okay. As I was saying, there is something I am hopeful that there's a ritual that I will be able to perform at some point, but in order to perform it, Emma told me that I would need a monograph. She mentioned they are difficult to find, but that you might be able to help.
I helped her one time and she thinks I can... What sort of a ritual are you looking for, dear?
I don't know the name of it, do I? Do I know the name of it?
No, I'll say you don't know the name of it.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm not entirely sure what you would call it, but the purpose is to return someone from the Pale in a more permanent fashion than some of the lesser spells that I could more easily acquire.
Interesting.
Can handle.
Interesting. Give me 1 second. She walks over to this thing which looks like it's a stand, and on that stand are just a bunch of different like lenses, and they don't like, it's not like a telescope. It's not like you look out with this thing. the lenses all point down at the stand. And she sort of picks this thing off of a shelf for sale and sort of places it on the desk where transactions occur. It's lightly used now. Don't tell anybody. I'm still calling it new.
Sure.
She sort of futzes with these lenses for a bit and peers in a couple of different times. But eventually she peers in and she's like, oh, I see. And pops out. I'm afraid I can't get much more specific with you. But broadly, I would suggest maybe heading to Mentors.
To where?
Oh, Mentors Library.
Would I know?
You ever been?
Would I have where I know where that is? Have you ever been?
Toss up 50-50.
I already have a bookstore. I don't really need to go to a library. I would probably have heard of it though.
Sure, gotcha.
What do I know about it? Is it just
Mentors Library is enormous.
Okay.
It is the largest library in Saturnine by far.
How large of a library are we talking, GM?
If you haven't been there, I would ask you to roll for it. But the only thing you would know specifically is it's
Huge.
large.
Do you know how long it would take to look through that library for something?
Are you sure you can't give us a more specific idea of where to look?
Unfortunately, no. I was looking and I saw the entrance to Mentors, not Mentors itself. I'm confident that that would be going into Mentors. I've never gone into the library and I've never used that door to get it anywhere other than Mentors. So I'm reasonably confident that it's Mentors, I think.
Do I believe her?
Sure. You could attempt to roll a check that has to do with if you have anything regarding sensing motives, reading people, or anything along those lines. Sure. Then you could roll, and if you want to reduce the challenge by 1 level, you could spend a bene from your intellect.
Can I use a sortilege instead?
You can use a sortilege to roll 2 dice at the same time. Since this is a not a magical task, if either one succeeds, you succeed.
Okay. I'll use one of my sortileges.
Sure.
That's a 7 and a 1?
All right, sure. The 1 doesn't pass, but the 7 does. I will say that broadly, she seems skittish to begin with. She was skittish when you walked into the place. I think that Soraya would probably confirm that she's skittish. But beyond that, you don't see any other quirks of behavior as she's discussing Mentors that you hadn't seen when she was meeting you. We're talking about literally anything else.
Okay.
Well, suppose that's more information than what I had when I first came in, so you are very helpful.
Is there anything that we can do for you? Anything at all?
You could pay. You could pay me.
Sure. What do you take?
Memories.
Do they have to be of the waking world?
I guess not. If they're strong.
Oh, honey. I've got something for you.
Oh, God.
Shade.
Don't worry about me.
All right, so she sort of like reaches out your hand. Just take my hand and think of a thing.
Show her the nightmare I had last night.
Jesus Christ. You give it to her, and it's weird. You like unexperienced the nightmare. Like, I don't know what nightmare you had, maybe last night in particular, but let's say it's the hands nightmare for this point of comparison. It's like the hands are all backing up and they're all letting go of your face and they're all crawling off of you. And they're just like, it's like you experience that. in the briefest instance, and far off in the distance, you see another light, and you see this dangling, hanging Victoria Vesper, who is probably experiencing the exact nightmare that you had the other night. And she pulls out, oh my.
Strong enough for you?
Yeah, strong indeed. Wow. Moment. She sort of like
take your time.
Walks over and it touches like almost like a glass sphere that's sort of just like hanging in the air, and it fills with this sort of like, it's like a smoke. It's like this gray nebulous stuff. Oh, usually these are blue. Anyway,
what does that mean?
Usually when people give me memories of dreams, they're blue.
And what does that color mean?
Oh, that's great. That's a lie, an illusion.
Oh, fascinating. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
What color did you say it was, GM?
Gray. And for that, you can deduct 1 hidden knowledge from your pool.
Okay.
You should have like 10 or something. It's fine.
Yep. I had 12 actually.
All right, great. Why don't we, as it is currently 9:24, and I don't think we can get done with the other scene in 5 minutes. Why don't we take a quick break before we hop on over to see what the rest of our group are doing? And we will be right back with this crazy story.
Be right back. Bye.
Anyway,
you were muted. My apologies.
Oh, hi everybody. I think we're all ready to get right back into it. So let's hop right on over to Alana, Lucas, and Soren. So you don't have much farther of a walk to reach the apartment you're looking for. Broadly speaking, Saturnine is a very walkable city. Fartown is very walkable, so walking anywhere isn't really too much of an issue. So you see this apartment is on the like 3rd or 4th floor. From the outside, it doesn't look like much. You see like basically a stone, rather brick face of a building. Soren, you see this sloppy gray graffiti, beware the demiurge, hanging right outside this window. But nobody else does, at least to your knowledge. Or to their knowledge. So you observe that from the street, but broadly that's sort of all you see. It's a very sort of like average looking like brownstone type building.
Yeah. And if I point out where the graffiti is, does anyone else see it here in person? I know that they couldn't see it in the picture.
I would say that if they attempted to make a magical perception challenge, they could. But right now, no.
I would point out where it is.
What floor is it written on the building?
3rd or 4th. Like between the two, hanging out there.
I don't see it. I don't know if I have the right type of magic to try to see it. Did you want to get a better look, Soren?
Well, I have looked at it already.
Well, I meant like a close look. It's not, I see you looking up.
No, I have in fact got in very close and looked already. I'm not entirely sure that there's much that I can do with it at this time. The only possible thing I could do is try to make it real, but I am afraid that trying to make graffiti real might not have the intended effect.
What do you mean?
I mean, I have the ability to take something that is in a picture form like this, and I could make it really truly exist. But my fear is that if it was a word such as beware the demiurge, and I did that, it might make the demiurge real, whatever it is. It's kind of a terrifying thought, so I have decided not to do it. I had this very same debate last time I was here. I probably stood here for a good 20 minutes or so. Passerbys were staring at me as I was staring at the wall, where I guess they cannot see anything. It was a peculiar sight.
I look at Lucas. Do you have any input? Thoughts?
Well, I don't see anything, nor did I see anything when I made my trip the other week. So I suppose this really is Soren's area of expertise. Not that I really doubted that. And you said you decided against making those thoughts reality, despite the fact that it would bring immediate understanding what the demiurge is.
I decided against what sounds like potentially, a painful death, in order to pursue further knowledge.
I still think I know you really want to get an answer. I might try and take a look.
Yeah, be my guest if I can help. Let me know.
I take out a small potion out of my bag. I have like a small bag. I'm gonna use my floating wish ephemeria. So
Alright,
I
great.
I down it.
Mhm.
And I can float up to a short distance. So
Sure.
I'll float however far Soren wants me to, wherever it is, basically.
Yeah, up a little and to the left.
Okay.
Right there. Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. You're looking right at it.
2 questions. What's the depletion on that?
It is until when the sun next sets.
Oh, nice. I like that. Sure. So yeah, you can float until the sun next sets. And what's the level on that?
4, and it's green colored.
Green magic. All right. Sadly, you're on the blue sun,
That's
and
all right.
with invisible sun, invisible. Well, actually, let's quickly play a tooth card since we got back from break. Let me pull up my gates. And on the indigo sun, we play the ambassador. Let's quickly see. The ambassador. Value of 8. Associated with visions, swans, blades, and water. So if any of you are an empath, you have a +1 to all of your ventures. Meanings: diplomacy, reason, intelligence. The ambassador hails from a far-off land, carrying a message of unity and civility. The ambassador wishes to talk, not to fight. She knows that words and wisdom offer a path to success that violence never could. Her words are careful and measured, never rash or ill-considered. If only there were more such individuals to make the world a better place. The ambassador is the adept of the Visions family. Her magic and skill come from her ability to persuade, which brings us the idea that words are magical, just as any spell or ritual. Just another type of incantation. So, Lucas, you have, I want to say it's +2 to all of your ventures.
So I want to stare at this wall that Soren says this graffiti is.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. The adept means you play another card on the next sun. So let's see what that one does. On the gray sun, we play the Raven. This is a companion card. So let's quickly see what that does, because I don't actually remember these particular. Duplicate the effects of the previous cards. So Jesus Christ. So we're playing another card now on the Pale Sun. All right, finally. This is a regular thing. The Forbidden Game. Blue magic is enhanced. Red magic is hindered. A value of 2. Let's pull up the Forbidden Game. I'm sorry, these cards get wild. All right. Value of 2, notions, cats, clocks, and wind. If that is associated with your heart, you have a +1 to all of your adventures. Meanings, danger, intellect, strategy, and balance. It is temptation to partake the temptation to partake in the game is strong, but you know you shouldn't. It's dangerous. It's forbidden. It's more than it seems. May appear to be a simple diversion, a pastime, but it is so much deeper, so much more engrossing, and so much more addicting. Some have lost their very souls to its intricacies. It is not just that people want to win, although that's part of it. It's in the game's complexities that draw them in. Every move is a colossal undertaking. The game is more intricate than the real world it simulates. That's the impossible thing. The game is bigger on the inside than the outside. It's bigger than the world in which it is played.
People with that heart get a plus what to what?
You get a +1 to all of your ventures.
So as I'm floating where Soren said the graffiti was, I want to pull some of my hair out of my braid and like weave it in front of my eyes and pulling on some of the aggregates of my magic. I want to weave interaction and strength to try and enhance my vision as I interact with this thing I cannot see. I'm trying to interact with it.
Do you have any other under the thing that under the aggregate you pulled to interact from? Are there any others? Because you're not really.
Okay.
It's not like you're manipulating it or speaking with a person. You're just looking at something.
Secrets. Try to reveal secrets.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, so I'll do secrets and strength to try to bring forth the secrets that are hidden.
And what level weave are you trying to weave?
I'm not sure of the type of skill or like the type of level it would be, so I'm not sure.
This is a perception task. To my knowledge, it will just be added to your roll.
Okay. And I also wanted to ask if my weaver skill will apply. It's a +1 to anything to do with understanding, quantifying, or identifying magic that lies outside of codified magical practices like spells, rituals, invocations, and the like.
Unfortunately, this is very specifically a spell. It is a rigid sort of cast.
Okay. So I weave my hair in front of my eyes to try to reveal secrets that I cannot see.
Sure. What level of magic are you trying to weave?
4.
4. Okay, great. You can deduct 4 sorcery. I'm saying this is indigo, so the current sun does not apply. So you have your venture begins at a 4, and you have +1 die.
Okay, so I'm rolling a regular D10 and a magic D10.
Yes, you could also reduce the challenge by 1 if you want to spend a bene from your perception pool.
I would.
All right, great. So you can mark that one down 1, and so your total challenge is reduced by 5. I will not tell you what this is because you do not know what sort of cast.
So I'm rolling the 2d10. My blue one is my magic die. I got a 5 on the regular die and a 3 on my magic.
Unfortunately, that does not succeed. You can definitely see it. Like, don't get me wrong, you can definitely see the graffiti, but you're not able to pull anything more out of it. You're just able to see this sloppy gray graffiti that says just beware the demiurge between the 3rd and 4th floor windows.
Well, on the bright side, I can see the graffiti. That's it.
Well, that is a good start. It means that
you're not crazy.
It means that it is really there, which is a good start.
And I'll slowly float back down.
Sure. You float back down?
Or were we doubting that the writing was actually there?
Well,
No.
I was starting to be a little curious because I'm the only one that could see it.
Well, it's there.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of hover because I'm not going to waste that magic potion.
Is that entirely necessary?
The magic's gonna last for a while, at least the rest of the day. I can't really help it.
Is it tiring?
No. Why?
Idle curiosity.
Okay. But no, it's just a potion.
Well, we have graffiti, and we have a murder site. Perhaps... Do we know specifically where they were killed?
Do we?
Sorry, I was muted. You know that this person was killed in their home. You know that from the article, it seems that every person who was killed in their home.
Well, then we just go to the building and see where the name is listed on the mailboxes. Yes, that's how this works, right?
Yeah, I believe that is what you do.
I mean, I've never lived in an apartment complex here, but I suppose it can't be too different from... Why are you looking at me like that?
Since I'm floating, can I walk or am I forced to deal with weird gravity?
You can walk if you want.
Okay, I'm gonna walk.
Yeah, the floating is entirely under your control.
Okay, cool. I'll walk when I need to move.
Sure.
Head for the front door? Entrance? Portal? I don't know. Simple brick
It's
building,
just a-
yes.
Just a door.
Perfect.
Walk in through the door.
Oh great, it's not locked. Fantastic.
Well, like the entrance to the apartment, yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Sometimes the front doors are locked for security reasons, yes? Looking around the foyer, what do we see?
It seems pretty sparse. You wouldn't pay a lot for this. Well, I mean, I don't imagine Lucas is terribly picky, but broadly speaking, one would not pay a lot for this. There's a simple desk behind which sits a large person. Person actually might not be the best word. It's a frog in a suit. Behind the desk is a frog in a suit. A humanoid. It's sitting up and writing, and it's acting like a human would, but it's a frog in a suit.
I
That
try
is the
not to
person
stare.
behind the desk. There are stairs heading up. You see an elevator, which seems suspect, but beyond that, it's sparse and old. Peeling wallpaper, dirty floors, that sort of thing.
Charming. Soren, that person behind the desk.
Yes, the person at the desk, yeah.
If you'll excuse me, I'll go see if I can get directions.
All right. We'll be right over here. Feel free to hop back when you're done.
I just give you a look. Was that intentional?
Was what intentional?
Never mind.
I do believe that was considered a joke.
Oh,
I will walk towards the desk, and as I approach, give a curt nod to the frog, and good... It's still morning, yes? Good morning.
Yeah, morning-ish, like probably like 11:30. So.
Yeah, okay. Good morning.
Morning.
Are you management?
In a way, closest thing to management that's in today.
I'm looking for one of the residents here.
I'm afraid that's not information I can just hand out.
Of course. Well, when I say residents, I say we're here to inspect the room of a recently deceased resident.
I'm gonna need to see some ribbit. identification for that. I can't just let people into rooms,
Crap. Why did I think that would... I don't like that I'm going to have to do this, but I will take a moment to perform imaginary threat.
All right. What's the level on that spell?
It's level 1 plus 1 die.
Level 1 plus 1 die. All right. You'll have to roll for it. So that adds 1 to
An intimidation check.
an intimidation challenge. Okay, sure. So you can roll 2 die. Your venture starts at 2, and you can add 1 interaction bene to boost it up to 3.
I would love to do that.
Sure. So you roll 2 die for that.
Okay. And basically, I stop, ponder for a moment, reach into my pocket on my jacket, and pull out my hand and display it. And we'll see if this works. Ooh, that's a 7 and an 8 on the die.
All right. So the thing is, you don't actually know
What is in
it
my
looks
hand?
like. Yes, you have no idea. But this frog sort of like almost like with frog-like jumping ability, sort of like bounces like back from the desk. What is? Just go! Starts yelling.
This is my badge.
The badge, you fucking crazy! Get that thing out of here!
I'm sorry. I just reached into my pocket to show you my badge. Where was the
That's
room
not
again?
That's not a fucking badge! Are you out of your mind?
Well, I'm looking at a badge. I don't know what to tell you. Where can I find...
I'm not looking at a badge. You get the hell out of here.
Silene of Unbroken Promises. Where was her room?
Fuck! 3rd floor. How long
There.
does that thing last?
Great question. Until at the end of the interaction encounter.
Okay, great. Just wanted to check.
That wasn't so hard now, was it?
Fucking crazy person, get him! Just go! Just go!
Okay.
I
And
walk up to you and kind of come on, let's go.
I just keep my hand open, just on the way up the stairs.
Sure.
I honestly have no idea what I'm holding right now, but that's part of the fun, isn't it?
He was terrified.
I guess I have that effect on frogs.
Anyway,
Reach the 3rd floor, no problem.
I hope he doesn't. Never mind.
As we walk by, can I just offer a little bit of whiskey? I'm silently, I'll just...
If you're walking with Lucas, he won't even... He's trying to interact with you as little as possible.
All right, perfect. Well, more from me then, and I will continue on and perhaps take a sip as we walk up the stairs.
I'm just kind of giving Lucas a odd look as we keep going from that whole interaction.
I do apologize for that display, but we're here to find information, and we can't have a frog telling us where we can and cannot go.
I guess. Never mind.
Is there one room on the 3rd floor, or what's going on here?
There are multiple rooms on the 3rd floor, but it's not that hard to determine that there's a room at the end of the hall, and that's the one you're looking for based on the geometry of the building, so to speak. If you keep track of what window you were looking at, what side of the building, you would know that it's got to be that one because it's at the end of the hall. It's the only one facing in that direction.
Do we know if she lived alone?
That's not information you know.
There's one way to find out.
Knocking?
Yeah, and I would like to knock on the door.
You knock. You don't hear anything.
It appears to be empty. I'll try the handle.
Locked. As one might expect.
Are I don't know how I feel about it, but are you thinking about breaking and entering?
I am not thinking about breaking and entering, Alana. I am thinking, how do I find the answer to this riddle? And it seems like the answer is through this door.
Oh, what have I gotten myself into?
Well, right now you are in an apartment building, and you are on the 3rd floor, and that is where you are. Unfortunately, I do not have anything particularly useful for opening a door that is locked. If only we had someone here who was very good at that. But
I may have something that can be of use.
I may as well.
Oh, by all means.
No, you first.
Look, all you have to do is unlock the lock. That is not a crime.
Alex, how much of a gap is there between the floor and the bottom of the door?
It's probably. I'm sorry. Have I frozen? Or
no, you're good.
Okay, it just looks like Mare's frozen on my end. Oh, great. There you are. Okay, great. It's probably like the normal gap you would expect. Like give 50%.
Like
it's
an
not
inch?
Yeah. It's not secure. I'll put it that way.
Now, I have a second question. When an ability says depletion X, do I have to wait for the depletion, or do I actually no? What am I doing? I don't need to worry about the depletion. What was your idea, Lucas?
You know, I'd be far more interested in seeing what you have up your sleeve before I go sharing any secrets.
I said I would help. Okay. I am standing with you two, and for a split second, you hear the sound of shattering glass. And like almost in slow motion, I just break into a bunch of blue fragments. If you look at them closely, you can kind of see like maybe like a lock of hair, a finger, an eye, and a majority of those glass fragments dissipate. But a couple of them reform into me. And I'm about 4 inches tall. Don't mind me. One moment. And I crawl under the door, use my little floating ephemera, and undo the lock.
That is interesting.
All right, sure. And what's that ability you just used?
That was my forte, reduction. It is a level 3, okay. So I've used the rest of my sorcery, but at some point I would like to take a deep breath and regain my sorcery points.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, you
it's depletion 0, check each hour.
Oh, yeah. So you'll be that size for at least an hour. But yeah, you float up and it takes a lot of energy at 4 inches tall. But thankfully you can float. That's actually a really good mix of abilities. Holy fuck. But anyway, yeah, you're able to tug the lock. It's one of those just on the door. Thankfully you don't have any pull chains or anything to worry about. But yeah, you pull that and you can, between you pulling on the door handle, trying to pull it, and like the others outside hearing you, they're able to get in.
And just a quick question.
Door, they do.
Mechanic question. My physicality pool gains 5 Vex. Is that permanent? That's the permanent one, right?
Ooh, no. Vex I have you spend.
Okay, so
anytime you try to make a physicality action. I will
Yeah.
have you spend your vex.
So
And that's
my physicality gains 5 vex, and my movement pool gains 3 bene.
okay. Sure, you can add the bene to your movement pool.
Cool.
And the vex will just be spent as needed.
The door's unlocked.
Thank you. How long are you going to be this size? Would you like to ride on the handle of my cane while...
Please. I'll be at least an hour. I'm not sure how long it'll last.
I will lower the cane down for Alana to climb on top and then lift it up so that she can travel with us at a reasonable speed, since I'm sure her ability to walk has been slowed.
Thank you, Soren.
Yeah, that was a very interesting display. I have never seen anything like that. Is that something you do often, or...?
Just recently.
All right. Well, it was wonderfully impressive. Shall we look around and see what we can find?
I'll hold on to Soren's walking cane tightly.
All right.
I would like to search the place for anything of note.
Sure. Are you searching in like a systematic pattern type thing, or are you just kind of like stepping back and taking it in?
Please, Alex, this is Soren. He is going item by item, literally square foot by square foot through the entire apartment.
Sure, go ahead and roll me in. That will be an intellect based action for searching. If you have it, you do have searching, don't you?
I do have searching as a skill, so I would like to add +2 and also expend a bene from intellect.
Your searching, is that your shadow skill?
No, that is just a +1, and then I would spend.
The bene for +2 total.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sure, you can spend those or spend that.
All right.
You don't know precisely what you're looking for, so you wouldn't know the challenge of this.
Sure, of course, and it's just 1 die, yeah. All right. Let us see what we get. That is not going to be very good. It is a 0 on the die, and so it is a 2.
Okay, great. Fortunately, that's not flux. You don't get flux if you roll 0 on your
this is just me not having very good eyesight. I'll try to adjust my glasses as I'm having a hard time making things out.
So you search, and one thing you do as you're searching is you're going through, and you're so focused on the contents of this shelf that your elbow just bumps this standing lamp, and it just falls over and makes a clatter. The light bulb breaks. You've made some sound.
Oh geez.
As we're getting into searching, and I'm seeing Soren kind of poking through things, I stop and gather myself, and I would also like to use an ephemera, if I may.
Sure.
I'd like to activate the Hands of Angels, Help the Weary. And as I start looking around, I sigh, and suddenly, from my armpits, I guess, a second set of arms appear. Just kind of pop out. Yeah, sorry, I had to make that noise. And I now have 4 hands. And they will be able to assist me with pretty much any physical action. Mechanically, I just get the movement and accuracy bonus to my bene. And the hands persist until I use those additional bene.
Sure.
And I will also help search to try and speed things up, especially now that someone had to go ahead and make some noise.
Yeah, sure. I will say that you find 3 objects of interest. 2 of them are ephemera objects. I will DM you these specific things later, and if they come up, I'll DM you tonight. But one is a talisman that gives you +1 to defense to all demons and spirits for 1 day, and the other is string that does things that I'll DM you. It's complicated. It's fine.
String. String.
So you notice those 2 things, and I'm trying to think.
You stealing from the dead?
No. I'm simply borrowing that which they cannot use.
You notice a book, a large black book with a very prominent V on the front of it.
Interesting. Can I open it to see what is in the first page or 2?
Yeah, sure. You pop it open, and this is a brief history of a group called the Vespertine.
How thick is the book?
Big. It's chunky.
Soren.
Yeah.
This book is a light history of something called the Vespertine.
All right. Yes, that sounds very familiar. Didn't we?
If you have familiarity with the word, it would be beyond my ken, but I figure you can never have enough books for the library.
You're right. I have an empty spot on the shelf. I will take that.
Speaking of books and empty shelves, Soren, how would you like a despair?
I would love a despair right now.
I was going to say, that's a great answer, because by how would you like a despair, I mean, you're about to get a despair. Because as you pick up this book, you also somehow notice you're a solid 2 or 3 pounds lighter. And you look, and your spellbook is gone.
My spellbook?
Spellbook is gone. And you hear footsteps downstairs moving pretty quickly.
I know that Lucas kind of semi-threatened the frog, and Soren made noise. Maybe we should leave.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea, perhaps. I have a very quick mechanical question. Would the pieces of the lamp be considered one object or multiple objects?
I'm going to say it's one object. It was one object 10 minutes ago. It's fine.
I would like to use my ephemera lost in a place beyond the map to just make it disappear. It will be lost forever in the void.
Sure. Okay. The lamp?
Yeah. All of the pieces, evidence that we have done something here, gone.
Gotcha. Okay.
So do we feel like taking the stairs, or would we like to jump out the window?
Just don't want to get arrested, please.
So I'm hearing that you want to go out the window.
Sounds appropriate.
Yeah, all right.
We can show ourselves out.
It is something that you and I are particularly skilled at, Lucas.
Shade and Soraya, you dimly know where the rest of the group was headed. As you're heading that way, the streets are pretty empty at this point. It's like a midday or so. Most people seem to be working or doing whatever it is they do during the day. The only thing you notice as you head there is there's this larger, big, burly man in a sort of black coat who just sort of seems very preoccupied as he passes you by, almost runs into you. Doesn't, but
Familiarity at all?
none.
Do we see where he goes?
Unless you want to follow him, he goes back the way you came from and down the street.
Okay. That was weird.
I hate people. Just keep going. We don't know.
Yeah,
we don't
so-
We don't know any better.
Yeah. Do the rest of you head out the window or downstairs?
I think we decided to go out the window.
I'm all right with jumping. It will hurt, but
can
I feel
float.
like that makes one of us.
You can probably climb down.
Well, can someone open the window at least for me? I'm a bit.
Yeah, sure. I will open the window, and then probably proceed to start climbing out.
Sure. You climb out. It's brick wall, so you climb out and you pretty much immediately fall. Unless you have some magic you would like to mitigate that, you will fall and take 3 injuries, which will convert to 1 wound.
The magic which I can definitely cast from my non-existent spell book.
So you still have the spells you stored in your mind. Those don't go away.
All right.
You just can't. You can't gain new ones. You can't prepare anything more.
Yeah, I don't think either of my spells that I've prepared are going to do anything helpful with that. So
Sure. Okay.
I think
Actually-
I would probably just fall.
Fall hurts like
can-
a bitch.
Oh
wait,
yeah.
wait. No.
Would I be able to use thought becomes motion to catch and move Soren to the ground gently?
Does that work on objects, or what does that work on?
I can pick up and move a nearby creature or object if it weighs
Okay.
less than a ton.
Sure. Yeah, that describes Soren pretty well.
Yeah.
Wait. I can try and help Lucas.
So before you smash into the ground, I think about you not smashing into the ground, and I'm just staring down a couple stories below, and just suddenly you stop midair, and like someone's picking you up and gently sets you down.
I will look up and wave.
I'm just staring.
Do we see
Yes.
this?
I think so.
Can I have stayed with Lucas?
Yeah, no reason you can't. You can float.
I know you can't do that more than once, can you?
I beg your pardon?
Do you need help getting down without breaking your legs?
Well, I was thinking of making good use of, and I roll all 4 of the shoulders that I have. But if you would like to surprise me with another trick, I would not object.
It's magic. I float up to your head and kind of like pat you on the forehead with my tiny hand. But I have to touch you. I'd like to weave together protection and health to help negate any damage if Lucas takes anything as they fall.
Okay, I will say you need to spend 3 sorcery, 1 for each injury that Lucas would sustain.
So I touch you, and like if you fall, it should be okay. You won't hurt as much. And I will
Oh.
float back down. You said 3 sorcery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I just kind of whisper as you float down. And I'll just dive out the window. And by dive, I mean crawl out and just kind of dangle for a moment. And
You can't really crawl because it's like yes, you have 4 arms, but also like it's a solid brick wall. So
yeah.
there's- Yeah. You can like attempt to crawl and fall down that way.
I have an idea, and I'm sorry to interrupt. I would just like to use the 2 arms to hoist myself out the window, and then my other arms to reach in and start closing the window. And then as I let go, I'll move the 2 to the outside of the window so that I shut it on my way down, so it doesn't look like anyone
Okay.
slipped out.
Sure. Okay.
Soren, oh my god, what the hell is that? Oh my god, is that Lucas? Jesus H fucking Christ.
It's
got
okay,
boards!
Shade, it's okay. It's just
Why do you-
magic.
Why do you have 2 extra arms?
That's
Well,
disgusting.
Lucas has been working on their forearms, and they're quite buff. Can't you see?
I swear to God,
Four
Soren, this is
arms.
why
It's
I
okay,
broke up.
don't worry. I'm on like Soren's shoulder.
Where's Alana? Is that? Oh my.
Oh yeah. See?
You're so cute and small. I'm
Oh my god, I'm so glad we went the other way.
Oh, it looks like y'all been in trouble.
We
Yes.
would do best to retreat
Please,
expeditiously.
Please.
Can
I think trouble is the wrong word. I think we have found some information
Soren,
and also
Soren, no.
left a trail that is not followable.
Can we leave, please?
I would like to light a match and then snuff it out and use that darkness to try and obfuscate our path as we leave.
Muted.
Muted. Yeah. What would you like to weave together? What two aspects from the list?
The qualities
Yeah, because obfuscate works well
stealth
for darkness.
and obfuscate.
Are they both? Is one from fire and one from darkness?
Oh! I tell you what, movement
Yeah.
and stealth. Haha!
Perfect.
I
Sure.
can weave. Magic is fun.
Yeah, sure. I will say that to keep this up for the amount of time you need to move, which is at least 1 hour, I would say you need to spend. What's your default amount of time?
Default duration for
One
each of
round.
them is 1 round.
For each of them? Yeah. So I will say to bring it up to on the realm of hours, you need to spend 3 sorcery total.
Okay.
Sure. So you can take that off your sorcery pool, and you.
Do I need a roll?
Not really. No.
Okay.
You're creating a magical effect, and you're not targeting anyone in particular. If someone started to investigate you, they might.
Okay.
You do notice, though, two figures in sort of like these light tan coats and like hats, and they look pretty matching and pretty no nonsense. Walk into the apartment right as you are heading out.
Are these figures that I would recognize as like part of our society?
There, broadly, you would probably assume that these people work for the local gerent. There's no systemic like police system, but based on how they're moving, and the fact that they're arriving like just on time and they're matching and all that, you would assume these are probably enforcers of some variety.
Go,
Awesome.
go.
Are they here for you?
Lucas threatened the frog at the front desk.
Oh,
I did no such thing.
Really?
you threatened someone without me?
I
What
did
else
not
are my guns good
threaten
for?
the frog.
Whether you mentioned as threatening or not, they took it as a threat. Please go.
All I did was show them my credentials.
Shade, next
Master.
time, perhaps you ought to come along when we try to, muscle our way into someplace we ought not to be.
I didn't realize we were muscling our way into anything. You should have told me.
Oh, I thought that, going to the apartment where someone died would have been maybe a little more self-explanatory. But I will tell you next time when we intend to get up to shenanigans.
Thank you, that's all I ask.
Okay, I will tell you.
Lucas, can you roll me a resist defense check? You could spend from your intellect pool.
Sure
if you
am.
want.
I do have that as one of my skills.
Okay,
for
sure.
what that's
You can
worth.
add +1 for your skill, and you could add 1 from your intellect pool if you would like.
I would love to.
All right, great.
So I roll a
just
die?
+2. You could add a sortilege. I'm going to say broadly. Resist is for magical effects, and so you would probably need 2 successes to.
And this silly question, is this considered a venture?
Yes.
Is that card that gives bonuses to the vision, swans, and blades still in effect?
Let me check real fast. No, this is notions, cats, clocks, and wind right now.
Okay. I'll just roll the dice and add the +2.
Do you want to add the sortilege as well?
Eh.
Okay.
That's a 5 + 2 is 7.
Okay.
Do I notice I'm resisting anything?
No.
Oh, cool. Well, then I don't need to say anything.
Yeah. No, you don't notice a damn thing.
We will continue on then, I think.
Mm-hmm.
holding on to your like suit jacket. Too fast. Too fast.
First I was too slow, now I'm too fast. How fast would you like me to walk?
Never mind. Keep going.
Perhaps you could sit in the pocket. It might be a little more comfortable.
Please.
One of the new hands reaches down and just kind of like picks you up and sets you in the jacket pocket.
How long do the hands last?
Until I use the bene.
Oh, okay.
So I have +2 to my movement and accuracy pools. So
Okay. So where would we like to all go now?
What's closest? Whose place is closest if we want to go to a house?
Or if you want to go to a house, you'll need to leave the 73. So you need to wait at a bus stop.
Where are we going?
Oh.
We can go back to the dungeon.
GM, where's the mentors?
Mentors is not in Fartown.
It's
in Satterine. So it's not like
Fartown. Okay.
it's
But it's
just
not
in
like any.
Fartown.
It's not like we should go home.
It's not
maybe.
under another sun. It's not somewhere obscure
Okay.
or terrible. It's just not in Fartown.
No.
well, we could go back to the dungeon, yes. We could go to the aqueduct. There aren't very many prying eyes there, except for maybe that skeevy real estate attorney, but
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
I believe you already did indirectly.
It's settled.
Yes, I'm asking you about it right now. How'd that go? Do you own the aqueduct or not?
Well, I don't know, but someone does, and that's what's important. If I can figure out who, I might be able to barter for ownership.
What do you have to trade?
Everyone has a price.
Yeah, but what do you have?
Well, if I don't have it now, I can always get it later.
Fair. Fair.
So theoretically, the bus could take us anywhere we wanted to in Fartown, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much.
So we could go quite literally anywhere. If no one has a strong preference, I'm fine with the dungeon. I would have the necessary supplies to study and refresh my memory for spells, but I don't know that I would have the supplies to recreate my spell book on me.
Recreate your spellbook. What?
What happened to your spell book?
Did you lose it?
You know, I may have accidentally. It is not here.
You may have. You.
You lost your
Soren.
spell book. That
I
is-
have known you for a long time, and you have never lost your spellbook.
That is correct, yeah.
So
What
why did
happened
you lose
to
it today?
I have no idea. One moment it was in my coat, exactly where I keep it, and the next moment it was not there.
And you're not concerned.
I'm very concerned, but I also don't particularly want to worry about it here while we are on the street running away from other people. And so I'm going to worry about it later.
Valid. All right, let's go to the dungeon.
All right, we can go to the dungeon.
All right. So as you're waiting at the bus stop, Shade, I would say you notice a couple more of these figures.
Are they coming
and
towards us?
They're watching you.
Are they making any movement toward? They're not like.
They're like watching you from across the street. None.
I think they could. They look like they could use a good time. I'm gonna walk over to him.
Sure.
Where is she going?
I
You
have
walk
no idea. Don't
over to
question
them,
her.
and interestingly enough, you like as you cross the street, And everyone at the bus stop would also notice this as well. The bus passes the stop. It goes right on by.
Wait, with us that's standing there?
Mhm.
It's not supposed to do that.
I keep walking towards them.
This is awkward.
You notice that they are two identical looking men. Same height, same face, same everything, same clothes. They are the same person in two places.
Hi, fellas.
Can I help you?
I think you can. I saw you watching us. You got something to say, big boys?
Not to you.
Who then?
They incline their heads at Lucas. Your friend.
That's my friend, and his business right now is my business, so...
Look, if you all want to talk to Transit Authority, that's fine, but...
Transit Authority, that seems aggressive. Is there anything I can do to... well, blow this over?
If you want to roll an interaction, if you want to build an interaction venture, you could. But they're not gonna let this go without some sort of something.
Do I know what Transitive Authority is? Like,
Transit Authority is the collective term for the Gerent and their people in this neighborhood. Transit Authority is the government of the 73.
so if I fight these people, I'm not likely to have a good time.
You're not likely to have a good time inside the 73, but Transit Authority has no actual authority outside of this neighborhood.
Oh.
Justice is extremely localized.
Transit Authority. Oh, okay.
So, like, once you get back to Mothlight, like, Transit Authority can think whatever they want about you. They can't do shit. Unless you do something real bad, then deals start getting made between Gerents.
Would fighting our way out of this town be something real bad?
I mean, the only challenge at that point will be finding a way out, because the bus passed you by. If you can find a way out, you could, take these guys on, and then just get out. The only problem is you need to find a way out. If the bus doesn't pass you by again.
Bitch. Fellas, listen. I was standing over there, and I was waiting for a bus, and it passed my friends by. Did you see that?
You did.
What
Damn shame.
What is that about?
Like I said, if you all want to talk to Transit Authority, that's your prerogative.
Listen, what my... oh, fuck.
You're not leaving. Well, points at Lucas. They're coming with us, where none of you are leaving. You're leaving without them, or you're not leaving at all.
I want to take a step closer.
Sure.
To one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to move in very close and say,
Mm-hmm.
are you sure there's nothing I can do to convince you? And try to place a kiss on his lips.
Okay, absolutely, you can do that.
And then as I do, I'm going to use the ephemera, a hunger best not fed, and turn this...
All right, why don't you describe that to us?
As I lean in and place a kiss on this creature's lips, I have a lighter behind my back. And I light it and nothing happens to the lighter. But as I take my hand and thread it through the back of their hair and hold on tight, their hair in my hand turns to dust. In fact, all of them turns to dust. And then in that fist, I would like to fuse my nightmare into it and reach around and sucker and clock the second guy.
Okay, you'll have to roll to beat, because now you're basically in quasi-initiative.
Sure.
Basically, if you roll a movement challenge higher than this person's level, you move first. Otherwise, he moves first.
Okay, I can do that.
And then the rest of you can probably move afterwards, after whoever is second. You don't need to roll for it.
Ooh.
So you can.
So I roll a die, and do I add anything to it?
If you want to spend a bene from your movement pool, you can do that. If you have any skill relating to reflexes.
Nope. In fact, I rolled pretty high. I rolled a 7.
Okay, sure.
And are we still under? My heart is the clock, and there was a soothe card that says +1 to all ventures.
Oh, yeah.
For that. So it's
your ventures are all +1. So
Yeah.
you're a higher level than this person.
Sweet.
And he just looks there and like stunned. He's sort of like steps back for just a quick second. Jesus fucking! And then you why don't you roll your attack on this person?
How do I do that?
So what's the level? Are you doing your nightmare thing? Your
I'm doing my
fist?
terror strike. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So you add that.
Okay.
So you start with that number, and then if you want to add bene from your accuracy pool, you can do that, and you do that before you roll.
I will do that. I will.
Yeah.
Accuracy is pretty high. It's 4, so I'll add 2 to my accuracy, so it's a level 2.
You can only add 1 from your accuracy at a time.
Okay, then I'll add 1 from my accuracy at a time.
Yes.
That will start me at a 3.
Okay, sure. And you'll roll 2 dice because your nightmare fist is magical.
That's a 7 and a 4. The 7 would be the attack, and the 4 would be the magic.
All right. That'll do it. And I'm sorry. What's the damage on the nightmare fist as well?
What's the damage die?
There's no damage die. It's just it'll say something in that thing.
+2 damage when I attack with my fists.
Okay, yeah. So you'll do 4 total damage.
Yeah.
Because light weapons start off at 2, and your fist is a light weapon. So what does this look like as you clock this guy?
My hand shifts. Do I still have a memory of that? I don't remember that nightmare at all about the hands.
You don't remember the hands. You have other nightmares. You
Okay.
have plenty of nightmares.
I'll pull an old nightmare about snakes, and a snake will weave its way. A black snake with red eyes will weave its way around my fist and tighten around as I grip, and then I come around, and the snake impacts with this creature's face and wraps around his neck.
All right.
And tightens.
Yeah, so that totally happens. The guy is like out with one hand trying to pull the snake off of himself, but with the other hand he draws a revolver and attempts to shoot at you. I'm gonna say he's hindered by 1 because of this thing you got going on. But
honey.
you need to roll a dodge defense check of a value 4.
That's a 9.
Yeah, he shoots and you're able to like watch his hand and sort of get out of the way. The rest of you now can act.
No.
I'm going to start moving closer. How far away are they?
They're a... God, I don't have the distance numbers memorized.
I don't. It's a.
Yeah, they're. I'm gonna say far. It would take. You would need to spend 2 movements to get over there.
Okay.
And your movement is an action.
It is an action, so you can't do.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't move and take an action. You can move within like 5 to 10 feet. That's fine. But once you start talking about across the street, you would need to spend your entire action to move.
So that changes my plan. God, I hate that. This isn't. It's fine. Sorry, I was a bitch. Can I not immediately moving after I see this asshole try to shoot my sister? Can I cast a spell? I don't know how spells work. Can I cast a spell? It's long range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Long will get him.
So, do I describe or do I roll?
Well, what's the spell first? And
Bleeding darkness.
oh yeah. So why don't you roll for it first to see
Okay.
What's the level of the spell?
The level is third level.
Okay, yeah. So you'll you'll reduce the challenge by 3,
Reduce the challenge by 3.
and you're
Okay,
going to
and
be
I rolled
adding.
2?
It says, how many dice does it say? It'll say +1 or +2 dice next to the level.
It did. I didn't write that down. Oh, there's too many things.
Let's just add +1 and figure it out
Okay.
later. So roll 2 dice.
Okay. Okay. That's a double 7s.
All right, yeah, you totally catch this guy in the bleeding darkness. So why don't you describe what it looks like and then describe what it does?
So Soraya's face, my face goes much even darker than anything that you all have seen. You've seen her be unwelcoming and, not necessarily friendly, but this is something exceedingly dangerous. And at the center of this person, you see like a little bit of darkness, and in this very small bit of darkness you see claws start to come out as it grows, and it starts to as it grows the hands start to claw, and almost like they're trying to pull him in. They can't, but that's kind of the impression that you get as it grows to a small sphere kind of centered around his torso. And there's just,
Sure.
Oh, yeah. You probably also see some some gleam of white teeth, which is kind of startling against the otherwise black shadow that is there.
And by a close reading of the spell does not affect shade. Just the person. So yeah, with that as well, yeah, no, he's still alive, but he's looking pretty bad at this point. Would any of the other visitors like to go?
If no one else objects, I could maybe tidy this up in a neat little bow.
Get closer, Lucas. We have to help Shade. As I see from your pocket.
This is obvious that these men weren't any of Shade's friends, and from where I'm standing, I would like to cast Thaumaturgic Strike as a spell. It's level 2, and it's +1 die.
Okay.
And I can do it from far away.
Okay, that'll all work.
And so I roll 2 die.
And you'll add the 2 from the level of the spell.
Okay. And it costs me a number of sorcery equal to the level?
Yes. Yeah,
cool.
Soraya as well. You'll remove 3 from your sorcery pool.
And I can spend a sortilege to add 1 to it?
Yeah, you could.
Roll another die?
Rolling 2 dice. You're already rolling 2 dice. If you want to spend a sortilege, you can, but you're already rolling.
I don't need to. Okay.
Yeah.
But ugh. I've got a 7 and a 1.
Okay, you only needed 1 success.
Ooh.
So the 7 will do it. And what's the damage on that spell?
The damage on the spell is inflicts damage equal to the spell's level, 2.
All right, sure. So what does this look like?
After I say this is such a bother, I look towards this gentleman, staring through them, essentially, and I breathe out, and a little silvery grayish mist appears, and it kind of coalesces into basically an elongated spike, and it just kind of zips through the air and like skewers straight into their, I don't know, let's say their neck, because that's fun.
Okay, sure, yeah. So this, as your thaumaturgic strike hits this guy in the neck, he crumples. He's at this point, he's dead. So Shade, like everything goes dark around you for a split second, and you hear these claws like tearing and rending at this dude. Interestingly enough, they don't touch you. And
Soraya has my
from
back.
somewhere outside of this, you hear some other form of magic go off, and that seems to collide with the guy, and he just falls in front of you. And bleeding darkness is on the magnitude of rounds so it probably fades within a bit.
Can I summon the bus?
You can wait at the bus stop.
Oh, okay. I calmly walk over to the bus stop.
What did you all do?
I assume those weren't friends of yours.
Nope, they weren't friends of yours either.
Oh, really?
They wanted to bring you in, and I told them no.
I would have gone.
Well.
Why did they want to bring them in?
Yeah, Lucas, why did they want to bring you in?
I'm assuming the frogman was hopping mad about what went on earlier today.
Let's get out of 73.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I suppose I can write this district off on my list of places I can go safely. That's okay. It lacks charm.
Briefly, could someone describe to me how you would attempt to leave the 73?
Well, I'm assuming waiting at a bus stop
Bus
doesn't
stop.
work.
As the bus
Broadly
approaches-
speaking, it's gonna pass you by. You could attempt to continue to wait and see if it changes over time, but broadly speaking, over the next few minutes, the next few buses pass you by.
Well, as one approaches, could I step out in front of it in an attempt to
Okay.
get it to stop?
Yeah, okay. It does not stop, so if you could roll me a dodge defense action really fast.
Oh, never mind.
Can I use
I would
fire
also-
to stop it?
I would also like to try and help with the bus stopping.
I would-
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
One of you can do a weave, and the other one can assist and add +1 to the venture.
I would like to weave imprisonment and strength to try and stop the bus long enough for us to get on.
Oh, okay, sure.
I would have
Stop
done
the bus long enough for you to get on. I don't think you need to change your duration, rather, because you're already in the longer than one round.
I reach out as far as I can from Lucas's pocket.
Okay. And what level of effect would you like to weave?
We need to get the heck out of here, so I'm going to use the rest of my sorcery.
Which is
4.
4. Okay, great. You're going to be rolling 2 dice because this is a magical effect you're doing. So why don't you go ahead and roll for it? I don't think there's anything else you can add.
Am I able to use my weaver skill for that? That +1? Deal with
No, that's only for identifying. That's
Oh,
not
okay.
for casting.
Um,
Yeah.
Is there anything else I can add to this, like a sortilege or anything, or do I?
You have a sortilege. Yeah.
Yeah, you could add a third sortilege or a second sortilege, which would be rolling 3 dice at a time. And let's see if the Sooth deck is gonna help or hurt us this time. So on the red sun, we are playing the Savage Sword. Red magic is enhanced. Blue magic is hindered. I'm gonna say for the purpose of this is relating to I'm gonna call this pale magic. You're trying to stop something from moving. And let's see what the Savage Sword. All right. Vision, swans, blades, and water. If that is associated with your heart, you get a +1 to all of your ventures. Value of 3, meanings war, savagery, strength, violence, and brute force. The sword is a weapon of war, a metaphor for any kind of weapon one might wield. The savage sword is our basest nature, our predilection towards violence, and our shameful bloodlust. But it is also our strength to overcome obstacles and foes when we need to. It is the opposite of thought, strategy, or consideration. It is immediate, decisive, and without hesitation or regard for consequence. The Savage Sword is the opposite of the Revealing Knife in most aspects. I'm going to give you a joy and say that with this Sooth card reading, you're able to muster every ounce of magical strength that you can. And you're able to, I won't even bother. Did you roll for it?
No, I didn't yet.
I'm not going to make you roll. You're going to get a joy and you're going to reach out, and with power you didn't even know you have, everything around you just sort of like shakes and quivers, and it's like you're standing in like a what is it, category 1 earthquake, whatever ranks, Richter scale 1. It's a subtle vibration in everything around you. Even the air is shaking, and you just halt the bus where it's sitting.
Go!
And you don't even mean to. This is not even what you intend to do, but you stop the bus, and with that same force, it's like a wave sort of like pulls, like flows over the side and tears the door open. So you were all able to escape the 73.
So am I hit by the bus or not?
You are not hit by the bus.
Okay, thank goodness. I was
by
very
a very
concerned.
close margin, you are not hit by a bus.
I was
So
very
you were able to escape the 73.
Oh,
Alright. So to the dungeon then?
Holy
Yes.
shit, Alana, that was dope as hell.
I don't know how, but okay.
We run through.
I will wait for everyone else to go through before I do, because I'm holding Alana essentially. I want to make sure that the bus stays in place.
Sure.
Go through and
So you step out of the 73 into like the middle of like traffic. Everyone is honking at you and yelling.
Hey,
and
go
wondering
fuck
what-
yourself! Fuck off! We're walking here! Damn! Jesus Christ, like you never seen some of these like walk in the middle of the goddamn street before. Jesus Christ. Can I
Yeah,
fucking
okay.
help you?
We are now in Boston. All right.
I mean,
I like slam my hand on one of the hoods of the car. Come
Oh my
on!
god.
Shade.
Honking.
Yeah, I am walking away as fast as possible. I do not want to be anywhere near this outburst.
I'll grab my sister's arm and try to.
That's right, hold me back! Hold me back! I'm just kidding.
All right. As we end and go into character summaries, I only really have this to say. Alana, even though you are currently only 4 inches in size, you have never felt so tall in your life. That's where we're going to end our session tonight. So we go around and talk about what we think our characters earned tonight. I'm going to go in order of how I see the Zoom call. So, Camille, how do you think Shade did tonight?
I think Shane had a great time tonight.
Yeah.
Got rid of one of her nightmares, got to punch some shit, finally used
Mhm.
that ephemera. She had a great time.
I definitely agree. I would say that, yeah, I would definitely say you earned a joy tonight, for sure. Do you think you made any progress on your arc?
That's hard to say. Somewhat, not as much as last time, but definitely some progress.
I agree. I think you made more progress than you know yet.
Oh.
And that can be sorted out with time. But I definitely think you made progress, so we
Okay.
can take 2 acumen for that.
Thank you.
For the audience, normally acumen is handed out by ones, but because we only have a limited amount of time to play this game in 9 weeks or so, I'm giving acumen by 2 so we can interact with the system a little bit more. So with that all said and done, let's hop down to Alana. How do you think you did tonight?
I think I did very well. I think I made a
You
nice
do.
chunk on my arc. I have not felt this alive in a while. And even though I kind of got into some trouble and I don't 100% agree with it, it was exciting. I think I get a joy and 2 acumen.
Yeah. So the joy you earned before, that was an intrusion. So you get that, but you also get a joy for the night. So you'll get 2 total, and you'll get 2 acumen as well. Soraya, how'd you do tonight?
There's definite progress on her character arc.
Absolutely.
And between the steps that are the progress that she is seeing, that she is actively seeing, combined with the fact that aside from these lovely people, she only had to interact with one person today, I think she would take a joy.
Okay, I think that seems fair. So you can gain 1 joy and 2 acumen. Soren, how are you doing?
I'm well, a mixed bag today. I feel like we started off very strong. I felt good about moving forward with my research proposal. So I feel like story-wise we've made progress, but I feel like the events in the apartment were just abysmally upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like despair for sure, and perhaps acumen.
Yeah, I think you've made progress.
Okay.
You have a whole book to study, so
that is true.
And Lucas, how do you feel you did tonight?
Well, overall, I was able to solve some problems with relying on my expertise. Obviously, as an apostate, I tend to see solving problems using magic in a way a lot of other people who are schooled. I see solving problems on my own very important. So I feel like I feel pretty good about that.
Okay.
As far as the fact that people wanted to speak with me, I don't really know how I feel about that because I didn't really get a chance to speak with them. So I don't have to let it weigh down on me. So I feel like I get a joy out of tonight for, doing some fun stuff. And by fun, I mean learning things.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really advanced my story at this point. So
that's true, but I think you did advanced in your side scene. So I'll give you 2 acumen for that retroactively because I think that was definitely progress.
Okay.
Yes.